Alright, hello everybody. Um, Welcome to another video slash stream or whatever. I doubt anybody's gonna watch, but it's whatever. Um, so today, I might stream again later. I probably will. I want to try and get back into more Elden Ring, and I apologize for the fact that I haven't done a lot recently. I've just been trying to, I guess, enjoy my summer and do some writing stuff. Because, well, yeah, I'm also going to college, and it's just been kind of like all over the place. So, yeah, I just wanted to, I'm just trying to take my time with the entire streaming thing. And so, I hope you guys can understand that. But anyway, I figure, so, also, I'll probably try and play more PlayStation stuff soon. I do want to say that, like next week. I don't work a lot next week. So, um, yeah, I'm planning on trying to do more, PlayStation games. Or, like, get back to doing PlayStation stuff. I might finish Bloodborne off, honestly. I or I might finish Bloodborne off, or I might just do something else. I don't know, because I know I'm not gonna have I'm pretty sure all my friends are busy next week for the most part. So, and since I'm not working a lot, uh, I'd assume I can probably just spend a lot of time doing PlayStation games or completing PlayStation games, or at least doing some progress. I hope I can maybe. I don't know if I'd say finish one, but at least make some progress. There's still quite a lot I have to do in Bloodborne. I know that, but um, who knows? Maybe I can start Miles Morales. I don't know how long Miles Morales is. I know I want to still play Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe I'll even try Demon Souls or some other game. Now that we have a release date for Ragnarok, I might. I don't know if I can use PlayStation itself to stream. Because last time I just tried streaming, it was still a bit fidgety. So it might work, it might not. I'm not sure, but I want to try and see if I could do play the original God of War games, like 1 through 3. I think that could be pretty fun, especially and I just need to upgrade my PlayStation Plus in order to do that, but I think it should be fun, and I'd enjoy doing that because I do want to play through the older God of War games, even if they are drastically different than 4, and I assume how Ragnarok's gonna be, but anyway, sorry, I'm kind of just rambling. But, yeah, I just wanted to play something chill for like half an hour, something like that before I have to go to work, so. And I figured I wanted to do something different instead of just another Hades stream, because while I am enjoying Hades again, I want to I want to just keep kind of like broadening the amount of games I play. Or at least like I don't know. I just don't want to do like several spurts of one game in a row again. I've been really bad with doing that, but um yeah. I just want to I guess just make some general progress. In just all the games and not just do one game like over again. I'll try and balance it a bit better. I might go back to Metro. I'll see what happens though. Um So, okay. Great news. Finally found a van for you at the auctions under your budget. Don't freak out when you see it. It looks like it's just been dredged from the bottom of the lake, but that's a good thing. It means no one else bid on it. They missed out. Underneath that hideous layer of gunk is your perfect workhorse. Engine's a dream, no rust, there's even equipment in the back. Just need a good hosing down and you're in business. You'll certainly earn your pressure washing stripes getting this thing clean. So, I know it's a bit strange to be playing Powerwashing Simulator, but they just added it onto Game Pass, and I've seen like a couple YouTubers play it, so I was like, it seems like a pretty satisfying game to play, and I'd like to try it out, so I figure why not. Plus, it might be nice to have a game like this where it's actually like I can focus a bit more on talking if I want to talk about something, or just chill out, something like that. So yeah, let's just start it. So I'll probably just figure out the controls as I go, because I'm assuming, or okay, never mind. I thought it would throw me right into it, but so B select soap, A is jump, X is extension, Y is nozzle, RT is the washer, RB is next. Okay. Alright, alright. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem super difficult. Name mode, toggle washer, show dirt, pick up place object. Okay. If I need to, I think I can just... Alright, let's see, so 15-degree nozzle. Alright, so it's nice to be able to see all this stuff. And I can change my clothing, apparently. That's pretty cool. That's a high jump. Okay, I'm gonna actually, before I do anything else, let me check. Can I go to settings? Options. Control cursor sensitivity. Is there just like a general... Is that what it's talking about? Okay. That feels a little bit better. So... Okay, there we go. Sorry. It's a bit weird to get used to controls, but I guess it's given me a little bit of a tutorial, so... Go. Just clear off everything. Okay, console, so that's... that. Y is to switch. So I hold it, 40 degree. Go. Just this. Alright, controls seem pretty easy. I'll probably keep... Oh, do I just press it? Okay, yeah, so I just keep pressing it to trigger. A mode. So, I can't remember. Oh god, I'm already forgetting controls. So... Okay, Alt is I can't imagine this will take a super long time. I don't know. I'll probably be able to do like 2 jobs, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's already 15% clean and I've kind of just been screwing around, so... Open and close tablet. Okay, so this gives me an idea of what I need to clean still. And then this is inventory. Yeah. Right, so anyway, I was rambling a little bit earlier and I went through a lot of topics pretty quick, but so I know I haven't played a lot of games recently, or like a lot of PlayStation games recently, and I kind of apologize for that. It's just that like because I did kind of give a heads up that like PlayStation is my main console, so don't expect me to always like be playing on it. There we go, that's a window. Here, I'll switch to... No, it's probably easier if I just do this. Yeah, so like, Xbox is my main console, which is what I'm playing this on now, it's on Game Pass, so I just figured it's easy to try it out and have some fun with it, you know? What I think could... But yeah, so I plan on playing more PlayStation games soon, but for now... And I think especially next week, but for now I'm gonna, I think, mainly prioritize a lot of Xbox stuff. Especially because, well, actually, I don't know how much, I don't know if I'll be streaming at all really from college. I might do it a couple times, but like, roommate, so I figure that's gonna be a little bit awkward. And plus, in general, I'll probably be quite busy with a lot of different stuff. Because, you know, it's college, I'm taking 6 classes this semester, so I'm pretty busy the first year. So, just in general, it's going to be a busy time. Yeah, so, I don't know, it'll be fun, or it should be fun. I'm not saying like it's entirely bad or anything like that. I think college should be a fun experience, but it's going to be interesting. I'll say that for sure. I'm a little bit nervous, but I mean, I guess who wouldn't be really? It's like this will be the first time I'm kind of on my own, so. But yeah, so it'll be the first time I'm on my own, but I think like it's gonna be good to get like kind of like that independence experience under my belt. And just to see what it's like to live by myself and all the things I need to take care of. I I try and be like responsible when it comes to a lot of things. But like there's still plenty of things I'm kind of like confused about, like don't exactly know what to do. So I think just like the best way to kind of learn that is just through straight up like independence, like your own independence. You're gonna be able to learn a lot about like what you like about the world in general, I guess. There's a lot that you can learn, so I think that'll definitely be good. Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly, like, I don't know how much I'm gonna get involved in, but I think that overall it's gonna be good for me, and I think it's gonna be a good time. I know there's quite a few people going, like, that went to my high school that are also going to college, the same one, I mean, so I think it'll be good. It'll be nice to have people I know, at least. Like, it is a very big campus, I know that. Or maybe not very big, it's a pretty decently sized campus. I think it's like 23,000 students. But still, I think it'll be nice to have people that I at least know. Like, I know, like, I mean, there haven't been a ton of people that I've talked to super, like, I mean, I'll be able to get to know more about them. I think one of my old buddies, even from grade school, is going there, so that'll be fun. Like, I haven't seen him in a while either, so I'll be able to see him again. It'll be nice, because he doesn't go to the same high school, or didn't go to the same high school that I did. Pretty satisfying game too. It's just pretty chill. Alright, look at that, it's looking clean. This aim mode is so weird. Like, I like it, and I like its inclusion, it's just very strange. I can't think of what it reminds me of. I don't think it's a particular game, it's just, I think, maybe it's like those arcade games? I'm not sure. I'm like a photographer, finding the weirdest angles, or like the most interesting angles to do my job from. Yeah, so college overall should be an interesting time. There's a removals van outside my nightmare neighbor's place. They're finally going. Whoever moves in there. I'm playing this like it's a strategic shooter for some reason or something. Yeah, I mean, Harper, or whatever his name is, he certainly wasn't wrong. This is a nice looking van. After you get all, like, the gunk and everything off of it. And all it takes is probably, like, what? 20 minutes of work? Maybe I will do 2 jobs, actually. Originally I was planning to go at 3:30, and it's currently 16. It might not hurt. Because, like, I mean, I work at 5:30, but I figure it's just... You're gonna go with that business name, or do you need me to think some up? I'm phenomenal. I thought up grouting Thomas for that Tyler, and she's never looked back. That sounds... On reflection, Bonnie Tyler might have been a... Yeah, probably. There we go, the grill's clean. Is the bumper still not done? There we go. Bumper cleaned. So it seems like most of it is just left on top. Let's see, I guess, like, I'm honestly not sure what, or, like, in terms of PlayStation games, I'm not sure, I don't really have, like, a ton I plan on playing, or that I'm not even sure if I'll be able to do back to the stream, just because, like, I don't know. Pick up, please include. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't really have an agenda, I guess, of, like, I probably should clean it out a little bit more, but I don't have an exact agenda as to whether, like, what games I plan on tackling. Most of it's just random. I mean, like, I have a couple select games I want to play that are PlayStation. Like, for sure, I want to try and play Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, obviously Bloodborne on Bishop, Ghost of Tsushima, because I have the director's cut on disc. When Ragnarok drops, that's certainly I'm going to try and play. I'll probably be a bit late to the party, so I don't know if I'm even bringing my PlayStation. Actually, I guess it depends, because it releases November 9th, right? I'll probably be a little bit late to the party in terms of, like, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who've already, like, grinded that game and finished it, so that when I come back. I don't know when my fall semester ends for college, so I mean I might take advantage of the fact that when I come back from winter break I'll be able to do something or like do that sort of stuff, so like I do the bumper. I think it's the back one then. Yeah, so let me try this. There we go. Tire. Is it this one? Yes it is. Go, the tire's done. These go. Actually, it's disgusting. There we go, job complete. Is this the extraordinary Dr. Powerwash? I got your details from your friend Harper. I could really do it with a hand at my place when you're free. Okay. So there we go, the van's done. First basic job. Oh yeah, and then I forgot it shows a time lapse too. That's cool. I like that it shows the time lapse. It looks fantastic. Told you it would be fine into the grime. I pinged you the $100 left over from what you gave me, so that should help get you out the ground. Also just met my new neighbor over the fence, grumbling about his dirty backyard, and told him to give you a shout. Looks like you got your first customer. Alright, yeah, so, let's see, so continue, clean the back garden. Hey Doc, I hope you like a challenge, because I'm pretty sure I got the dirtiest backyard you've ever seen, and that's not me bragging, by the way, and nothing to do with it. I've just moved back to town for a bit to help my folks, who are both down to their last knee, and rented what I thought was a great little place. You should have questioned why there weren't any garden pics in the ad. They must have bred rhinos here or something. Anyway, my girls are itching to get out there, and I don't want them still itching when they get back inside. So please, do your thing. Thanks a lot, Cal. Alright, you know what? Let me just take off my alarm. Or actually, I'll change it for 4. 'Cause I don't know if it's going to take that long to do it. It might. I mean, it's 3 times the pay, so I'd assume it'd probably take roughly 3 times the time, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Funnily enough, my first girlfriend, Florine Perez, used to live here back in the day. You got something to admit, buddy? Is there a reason you bought this place? Very interesting that the backyard is dirty, like just the backyard. So, like, hopefully when I get back from winter break. I think that's what I was saying. Hopefully when I get back from winter break, I'll be able to play more PlayStation games, or just more games in general. I'll probably go on like a several month hiatus, because I don't think I'm gonna bring my Xbox or any of my consoles with me. I just figure it'll probably be a bit of work. And plus, I don't even know, like, the type of dorm room that I got, I don't know if I'll be able to fit stuff on there. Or, like, I don't think I'll be able to fit, like, a TV in the room. I might be able to. Like, I might just end up even getting, like, a monitor. That might just be my substitute. But, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens. That was gonna be one of my birthday gifts. My parents said they'd get me, like, a TV or something in the dorm room, and that was probably it, but, yeah, I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I don't even know if there'll be enough space. Hopefully, I'm hoping that won't be too much of an issue. But we will see. Because, I mean, the first year, I think I should have covered. After that, especially if I stay on campus, I am just itching to lose money. So, like a shit ton, and to the point where I'll probably have to take out, like, a loan, and that'll not be good at all, so. Game mode. Okay, let's take care of this now. I gotta get more used to this game mode thing. Yeah, I think I like this nozzle the best, honestly. It seems like a good one. What was I gonna say? I can't tell, is that dirt? Like, it's not super boring, and plus it's like, if you want something to talk about, or you just want to like chat or whatever, it's just like, yeah, okay, perfect opportunity to just like this in the background or something. Didn't end up getting a house flipper, so that was maybe it's just because it's more simplistic and it's with house flipper, I mean, it's you do both jobs to get money, and then you also this game is just seems like a power. But that's not a complaint, that's just like an observation. I don't know. Both games are pretty good though, all things considered. I know it's strange talking about them, but I wonder, I really think a lot of Twitch, so I wonder if I can kind of get like, I got a buddy who averages probably like at least 12 regular people. He isn't super popular got like the audience there, so I wonder like how he keeps them back. I feel like the best way would probably be to like if I was able to play Ragnarok release, or like not just Ragnarok, but I mean like games that are pretty highly anticipated on release. I feel like that'd be the best way of going about it. Because it's like, people are gonna wanna, especially like, if people have recently completed the game or something like that. Like, that's kinda how Bloodborne was for me, actually. When I played Bloodborne, a lot, like, that's probably when I got some of my more heavy traffic, and like, that's when I got the most regular people. So, like, I got people that were coming back, and they were like, actually watching me, because they seemed to actually be interested in my first playthrough and all that. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just gotta try and, like, capitalize off of, like, the popularity of the game. So, that's what I was trying to do with Elden Ring, and I can't remember how many views I am today at but I still got plenty to go. Like, I've only beat, like, the last time I played, I beat Dawn, so I literally have, like, I'm probably only halfway through the game, even, like, in terms, I guess, of main, well, even then, I don't know if Radahn's a main boss, but, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I hope to try and play more Elden Ring soon. I guess I've been taking a bit more of a break from, like, Souls games, like those types of games, because I don't want to, like, piss myself off a ton. And that especially doesn't help when you're playing games like Overwatch. Or, like, I guess I should say, like, if you're playing games like Overwatch, like, you don't want to just add more, like, make yourself more mad on top of it. Like, if I were to transition from, like, a gaming session of, like, Overwatch to something else, like Elden Ring, then I'd probably lose my mind, but... This is a dirty-ass patio. So, I don't even think anybody's gonna watch this, but if you are, I'd want to know, what were some of your favorite... For me, like, I watched a ton of different YouTubers, actually. Or, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. Like, that's kind of what... I watched probably some of the most obscure people on the face of the internet, and then also watched some of, like, the more famous people. There were some I missed out on, like, I didn't watch a ton of TDM, if I'm being honest, that kind of thing, but I watched, like, Sky Does Minecraft was one of my favorites, and that was before I knew that he was kind of screwed up, and you can, I don't want to talk too much on it, but, like, shit, man, there's a lot to unpack there. It's kind of crazy. About, like, the amount of stuff that's happened with him and his friends, or, like, rather what he's done to them. Like, he just seems like a pretty shitty, like, he's in a pretty shitty place mentally, but he's also not a super great person, and I feel like there comes a certain point where you really can't use mental illness as, like, a flat-out excuse for all the terrible stuff you've done. Especially, like, you obviously have to give some leniency to people who have that kind of thing. But, like, you can't, like, I feel like I can't go around, for example, saying that I have ADHD. What's up? Hang on. What's up? Do you like bikes? I could do with someone running. I could do with someone running their thing over my... Florian and I would climb up and down that rock garden all day, pretending we were rumbling Mount Rushless. We were on rumbling Mount Rushless, and the pond was the crater. I had no idea how he explained that to me. Sorry. But, so, uh, yeah, like, I can't go around telling people that, like, being an asshole or something like that, or just, like, plain acting like an irresponsible human being, and then go around saying, oh yeah, I have ADHD, it's fine, it's just the impulsivity, or something like that, you know? Um, like, I'm sure everybody who's probably had ADHD or, like, something like that has probably, like, they kind of understand, like, I mean, impulsivity can be kind of a prominent thing, but, like, at some point you have to at least try and restrain yourself, right? Like, and you especially don't go around using that as an excuse for, like, if you've done something bad, you know? That just kind of ruins everything. Or, not ruin, yeah, it just kind of ruins things for both, like, yourself and other people. You're just kind of, like, I think that's where some of the stigma of, like, that's where stigma starts coming in surrounding mental illness, because it's like people start getting shamed for this because they're using it as an excuse or something like that, or just because they're different, even though it's not something they can really control, and they end up kind of just making things worse for others as well. It's just like, it's kind of crazy. What I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, don't try and use, like, mental illness as an excuse, or mental disorders, or anything like that. Or psychological disorders, that's probably a better way to put it. As, like, an excuse for something, or, like, behavior. Like, I can understand it, like, maybe a couple times. Like, someone with Tourette's, I can definitely understand. It's not, like, something they can absolutely control. But, like, I feel like ADHD as an excuse for every time you do something bad or something like that, because of, like, impulsivity, is kind of just stupid. And you're just making things worse for yourself and other people. And just making the image of those people, like, seem so much worse. You know? Ridiculous. You're hurting yourself and others. Come on. I think I've probably spoken on that before. I wouldn't be shocked if I have, but since this is like the perfect game for rambling on about stuff, then that's Kate. So one thing I gotta say too, like, the God of War release date got dropped, and I'm excited for that. But also, one thing I'm excited for, and I didn't really notice it at first, or like, I didn't notice it at first as opposed to Ragnarok, but apparently they dropped a little bit of a trailer on Skate, the next Skate game. Which, if anybody remembers those games, which I'd assume a good amount of people do, because I feel like Skate 3 was a game which was pretty, like, revolutionary for a lot of people. Or, like, maybe not revolutionary, but just a ton of people really enjoyed Skate 3. Including myself. Like, it was a game that I just genuinely found to be so much fun. And just such a good time. Like, I just could not enjoy myself. Like, I always had fun whenever I was playing Skate 3. And I'm very thankful. I think that's also, like, one thing that probably brought quite a few of me and my friends pretty close together. Skate 3 was just such a nice game. It was so chill. And, like, yeah, it was pretty chill. And I just thought it was overall just really fun to play. And so now they're dropping, and there's not a release date yet, but they released a little trailer called, I think it was like, Still Working on It, or something like that, for Skate 4, and it looks pretty good, honestly. Like, like at first, a lot of it was just like kind of like the basic coding stuff, and like I'm fine with that. Like I understand people got to take their time. I'd prefer for a game, like even if the game delays can be annoying, I'd prefer for a game to be delayed and for it to end up being a good game, as opposed to a game being bad because people were kind of like rushing it, or like a parent company was rushing it, you know? Which I think is what happened through it. I know that's like kind of a completely separate topic, but yeah, I went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder, and I can't say I was super impressed. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm so exhausted of the MCU. Like, it feels like they really can't really have nowhere else they plan on trying to go post-Endgame. It just feels so pointless. Like, and I wish it could have been a good movie, I really do. Because, like, especially because Taika Waititi is a director I like. So to have him, or like, I mean, I haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but he just seems like an overall really cool guy. And I think that, like, what happened with that movie, I feel like it wasn't entirely his fault. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's like they did have plenty of time to work on it, and he just simply copped out and got kind of lazy or something. But I prefer not to, like, I don't think that's right, especially with all the, like, heart he's put into his other projects. Like, it's not like he's a bad director entirely or anything like that. It's just that it seems like dude, where the hell? There we go. And then I think the rest of the doghouse is cleaned. Good. There we go. Let's keep going with the patio. Yeah, like, I'd prefer to think that Taika Waititi wasn't, like, I'd prefer to think that he isn't shitting the bed. Like, that, you know, like, he hasn't dropped off for some reason. Especially because, like, I mean, I've heard very good, I haven't seen a ton of, like, his own movies. But, like, Ragnarok, I remember being a good film. I at least really enjoyed it. And I think that, like, I've heard also great, I mean, didn't Jojo Rabbit win an Oscar? It's like, and sure, the Oscars are kind of a joke at this point. But, like, I mean, just in general, I've heard really good things about Jojo Rabbit's movie. So it's like, how can a director fall that much? Especially because, like, he seems like he's an actually passionate director. Plus, I've heard that, there's also the fact that I've heard apparently, and maybe you should take some of this with a grain of salt, don't always, like, always do better research, or, like, do good research, but, like, it's been said, I think, that, like, apparently there was some footage that was cut from the movie, that, like, especially of, like, gore, which, by the way, gore is the best part of the movie, I do want to say that, I want to point that out, there's, like, nothing on Christian Bale. I thought he did a great job as Gore, and I thought he was a really cool villain, but I do kind of, I don't know if I want to talk too much, like, too much in spoiler territory. I'll try and keep away from it, but yeah, I'm just kind of getting sick of Marvel as a whole at this point. It feels like they're just trying to churn out as many projects as possible for Phase 4, and none of them are going well, and feels like there's no point. Like, I'm fine with the idea of, like, a solo story, except that all of them are now solo stories that feel like, it's unreasonable. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's unreasonable, some of the things that happen. Like, for example, Um, okay, Moon Knight's been out for or I think it's been wrapped up for 4 months. And I'd assume if you haven't seen it at this point, you probably don't care enough. Okay, I guess I'll just say, in broad terms, the ending of Moon Knight, the finale episode, it's is it really realistic that nobody would show up to try and help? Shang-Chi, it's a little bit more understandable, I think, because, um, it's this entirely different realm, so, of course, they kind of cover their bases in terms of why it's only them that can deal with it at the moment, although they probably should contact someone, shouldn't they? Or at least try to. I don't know, maybe it's a matter of urgency, more so than anything else. I'm sure you can pick apart that film more than, I haven't looked super in depth in it, but, I remember enjoying it. But anyway, the movie definitely probably has its issues, I will say that. But, yeah, you have, I haven't seen Black Widow, luckily. I'm probably going to at some point just because I want to, see the direction as to where the MCU has kind of gone overall. I want to see for myself why Black Widow is considered to be such a bad movie. But, yeah, Black Widow versus trash. The Eternals movie was just so boring. And also, I think one thing that makes that's getting really tired about the MCU is that a lot of the movies utilize, the sort of ending of the world trope. Ending of the world or universe. To have an event like that on such a cosmic scale felt like it was something that was an Avengers level threat, and the fact that you only have, all kind of memes aside, Avengers level threat, but, to have only the main protagonist of these movies and TV shows dealing with it seems absurd. Why would nobody, why would there be no superheroes that show up? Yeah, why would there be no superheroes in themselves that show up to see what the hell is happening with Westview? The fact that that entire saga happened is so stupid. And, WandaVision was a decent show. It wasn't great. It had many issues, but, I don't know. The fact that nobody showed up to Westview, especially Doctor Strange, who deals with the fucking magical. The fact that he did nothing about that is pretty absurd. And, I think it's just ridiculous. Honestly. There's so many stupid writing mistakes that are made, and this is coming from somebody who I consider myself to be somewhat of an amateur writer too. I wouldn't say I'm a great writer. I think I'm a decent writer, but I'm nowhere near the levels of someone like Stephen King, who's revered for being one of the better writers in the entire at least horror genre, if not one of the better writers of all time. But people need to be so much smarter with their writing. You gotta think about, there's so much to think about, and you can't just, that's the important thing with time, right? I think time needs to be taken into more consideration with just things in general, because, or I guess time in terms of, I don't know where I was going with that. Kind of blinking, I think so. I guess just, be willing to take time with pushing out a product. I'd prefer for it to take longer and for it to be actually of quality than for it to be something that is, purely terrible. Just, a genuinely terrible film or TV show. I'd prefer for it to be actually good and to, enjoy myself and everything when watching it. And I just so much prefer for it to be good rather than to have a very forgettable experience that just churns out money. Because here's the thing, right? Like, I think in the long term, if you get something that's actually... Hey Doc, bumped into the parkour and he definitely needs help with it. Sorry. But like, in the long term, like I'd say the most prominent like example of this is going to be something like Elden Ring, or just From Software games in general. Like From Software has managed, they've developed a model which is like pretty, like it's a solid game model. And while it was very niche at first, I mean Elden Ring kind of broke the barrier because of its leveling and its open world. It kind of broke the initial barrier that was kind of set up by some of these other Souls games, or these other From Software games. So that's why it, I think, appealed to such a large audience. It's because like the open world allows for you to not only explore a ton, but it's like it feels a lot less like the game is gatekeeping you from being able to access its later portions. Like, I mean, they even, for fuck's sake, have a side route that allows you to essentially bypass Godric the Grafted if you really wanted to. So, like, there's just so much you can do. Like, you can explore everything, and sure, like, you might get your ass kicked in higher level areas, but it's not like, well, like, the fact that there's so much to explore allows you to level up a bit easier, and, like, it just feels more open, and, like, you're not being gatekeeped that heavily. Like, for example, I guess, like, in previous games, like in Dark Souls 3, it's like, you must beat Udic Gundyr, or else you cannot, like, continue on. Let's think, what else? In Dark Souls 1, it was obviously the Asylum Demon. The Asylum Demon, you need to... the Asylum Demon is like, you either kill the Asylum Demon or you cannot progress. Whereas, like, the first boss in the game, well, the technical first boss you find in the game, you're supposed to die to. The second boss you find, which you're not even really supposed to fight at the level, which, I mean, I did, because I was like, you know what, I'm stubborn, and also, I'm a Dark Souls veteran, so I'm gonna try, at the very least, to kill this thing, and, even if it was kind of a stupid decision in the end, I'm kind of, like, proud of myself for doing it, but... yeah, I mean, I've made plenty of mistakes during my Elden Ring playthrough, but that's besides the point. It's, like, the point is that most of the other games kind of lock you out of progression. Like, you still, for, like, the main storyline and everything, you have quite a lot you have to do, in order to progress, but it feels less... like it's kind of gatekeeping you from continuing onward, like in Elden Ring, and you're allowed to do more. I mean, even Dark Souls 2 is kind of guilty of it, I'll say that. Or, okay, let me think. I mean, yeah, I mean, you have, like, in Bloodborne you have to fight Gascoigne. I can't really speak too much about Demon Souls because I didn't know a lot about that. Sekiro, you have to fight... let's think. I mean, I won't count Genichiro, but you have to fight Gyobu. I'll say that. You have to fight Gyobu in order to progress. So Elden Ring, as I can say, well, you do, like, there are kind of mandatory bosses because you need to get those things. It feels a lot like it's a lot less like it's gatekeeping you. I'm not gonna really count. Well, I guess I can't really, like, Sekiro's a little bit iffy because you have that glitch where you can trick him into killing himself, Gyobu into killing himself. I've seen that in, like, speedrunner routes and stuff like that. But, like, Gyobu, I think that, like, Elden Ring is the first game, or, like, the first more popular of the FromSoft games that kind of doesn't take this, like, a little bit more I guess, like, gatekeeping is probably, like, not the right term. Like, but, like, it's like you're allowed to do more of, like, whatever the hell you want in that game and allowed to explore more instead of just being kind of like hard stuck at a boss if you can't beat it, if you know what I mean. Which, granted, I mean, the bosses I've listed, like the starting bosses, really aren't super difficult. Like, or I mean, I guess Yoga might even be the most like, easiest out of all of them, but I don't know. So like, they're all pretty easy, at least to like, once you get like the idea down. Or like, even once you get the movement down, I'd say it's pretty easy. Like, I wouldn't consider Asylum Demon, even as a new player, to be a particularly difficult boss. But, or even Good Extender, like, sure, the combat is quicker in that game, but, like, I think once you get the dodging mechanic down to its, like, just once you get the dodging mechanic down, Gundyr isn't going to be super bad, especially, once you've kind of mastered, or I wouldn't say even mastered, once you've got it just generally down, you're going to have a much better time with Udix Gundyr, but still, like, it's kind of like people who aren't willing to, well, like, that's another thing I guess I should say with, like, those games in general, is that it's a game where it's definitely something you have to dedicate yourself to putting in time and patience for. It's like, if you wanted to ask for a trial and error game, From Software games are going to be the best ones you can get, because just generally, a lot of it's going to center around a trial and error run, where it's like, I need to see if I can, like, beat this. If you beat it first try, good for you, but, like, considering you gotta learn their attack patterns, and you'll probably end up dying a couple times, just depending on the bosses in general, it's like, okay, I gotta kind of dedicate myself to learning. That's the entire shtick of it, you know? And it's kind of, like, it's definitely not bad, but, like, some people are definitely not willing to delay gratification that long and be willing to learn, especially Dark Souls is not a game I'd say, like, or, like, those games are definitely not ones I'd say, like, if you want to explicitly chill, those aren't the ones I'd recommend for you, especially not new gamers. If your idea as a gamer, like, as somebody new to video games, if your idea is to go straight into a Dark Souls game, I would definitely not recommend it. I'd recommend probably something even basic, like COD. Like, COD recently hasn't been great, but just in terms of, like, you can do so much with, or it's just, like, pretty basic to learn. It's a basic shooter. If you want to get your aim, like, practice aim, I mean, even, like, maybe Fall Guys. Fall Guys might not be a bad game to act as, like, an introductory experience, because Fall Guys, oh jeez, I'm gonna delay my timer again. Shit, but sorry. Like, Fall Guys, I mean, Fall Guys is honestly probably the best example I can think of, because, like, the game literally centers around 3 controls, or at least mostly just 3 controls. So, like, I don't think it's super bad. I think Fall Guys is gonna be one of the better games, even if it is like a battle royale type game. It's like your 3 main controls. Well, so other than like the joystick and or joysticks, like the thumbsticks, with like moving around and moving the camera, you have your jump button, your grab button, and your dive button. Those are like the only 3 buttons you probably ever need to know. It makes use of like the 5 things out of however many. It's not super difficult to get the idea down, like how to like use. I don't know. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit, but like because of the basics being like you only have 3 basic controls that you really need to know. There are 3 basic buttons. It's like, okay, I think it'd be a bit easier to learn this as opposed to like something like COD, which is like albeit I think it is still a good shooter game no matter what to start out with. Probably as much as I do dislike COD a lot, but like I'd recommend like that'd probably be the game I'd recommend as a shooter game, even though I do not like Activision as a company. Or, like, I guess Activision Blizzard is the way to put it, but, yeah, Like, I just don't like them. I think they're kind of scummy. Especially because, like, COD is just the same game every year with, like, slightly updated graphics and movement. That's about it in terms of intricacies. So, but yeah, like, that'd be a game I'd recommend probably the first, despite the fact that it is pretty flawed as a gaming franchise by this current point. Which is why I'm glad that Microsoft, I think, is going to take step away from that style of, like, let's churn out one game a year. I think they're going to actually try and get it. But, like, I think I was going to center back to I was arguing about, I know, MC movies, and I think it's, like, doing the same shit over and over again is not going to, like, eventually, like, it might have sales, but in the long run, it's going to decline. Like, that's what's been happening with COD. That's why Vanguard is probably, like, I don't know how many it's sold, but it's at least, like, the lowest rated. I'm pretty sure it's the lowest rated COD game of all time. Like, I know I'm pretty sure so many people fucking hate that game. Or just do not like it. And it's reasonable, don't get me wrong, I'll say it is reasonable, but, like, that's why it's important to have, like, different. And not just in, like, some stupid way. I mean, like, do, like, difference in an interesting way. You know? Like, for example, I think one of the things, I guess, for, like, God of War, I think God of War 2018 brought in a lot of fans. And I think part of that is that, like, well, like, the combat wasn't anything, like, super game-changing, but, like, the integration of a lot of elements made it, like, pretty, like, it was always pretty fun. Like, especially because you could change stuff like your runes. Like, I don't think they had something like that. I think they had like, they more so went off of combos in previous God of War games. Whereas in the God of War 2018, you now had runes. And still, you could have combos, I'll say that. You could have combos in God of War 2018. But, like, I think the runes help, it's like, okay, let me experiment with this and make the experience a bit different. And, like, there's just so much you could do to make it so much, like, just make it different. Especially because, like, the RPG elements. I think those help a ton. There we go, birdhouse is cleaned. Still got quite a bit more to go, but we're getting there. Let's see. Oh nice, I got the ring. There we go. But yeah, like, with MCU, like, the MCU just has not done anything different. It feels like they haven't done anything different for the past couple of movies, and it just feels like the same oversaturated shit. And, like, I mean, taking risks can definitely pay off. It's scary to take risks, but fucking, like, it can most definitely pay off. I mean, look at fucking Moon Knight. Like, Moon Knight started off on a pretty fucking awesome note. It's just that after the first episode, it started to decline for the most part. And especially that finale. That finale was fucking dog shit. I hated that finale. Because it just relied so much on the MCU tropes that you'd probably expect. It's ridiculous. Like, I think it... okay, I'm gonna move a bit of spoilers, so if you want to just not listen to Moon Knight spoilers, then feel free to, like, zone me out or something, but, like, I think, like, I would have been fine with a god fight. Like, my comparison would be something like, The Stranger versus Kratos. I think to see something like that would have actually been really cool, because, like, I don't know if it's maybe, like, it's, like, leading into sort of an anime-ish element. Maybe that might be a stupid way of putting it, but I don't know. I just think that would be really cool to see kind of, like, the collateral that they can cause, especially. Like, for example, like, if, I can't even remember her name. Is this the Dirt Finder General? Got your details from a certain Harper Shaw, as there's a list. But, like, for example, saw my dream RV at the auction with like a coffee pie and wheels. Thanks, Harper. Ground wheels. Like, I think I wouldn't know whether to drive. I'm rambling, leave me alone. But like, I wouldn't mind a... Unfortunately, sold for a crazy amount. Thanks. Sorry. Like, I think I would be fine with something like a Kratos versus the Stranger fight, where, and especially because, like, if you're going down to that ground level, it'd be really easy to see collateral damage. So, like, you could see, for example, that, I think it's Amit, I think that was her name, throws Khonshu through a wall, and we see bricks splatter all over the place, things are destroyed inside of a shop, maybe even somebody gets, like, injured, or multiple people get injured. I don't think the MCU would be that ballsy to do something like that, but it'd be cool to see, like, that level of collateral sort of thing, you know? And I think that if they were willing to do something like that, then that would have made it, like, that fight worked so much better, too. Like, but it just left such a sour taste in my mouth to see a kaiju fight in the middle of an MCU show. I think that's just so unoriginal, not interesting at all, really. Not super fun to witness. I wish I could throw a water bomb or something. Jesus Christ, this is genuinely a pain in my ass. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think it's just... I think it could have been... Moon Knight was a shot at them trying something different and giving them a chance to do something different. And in the end, they copped out, stayed safe, and because of that, the MCU is continuing to decline. Which, yeah, that's another thing. Since I'm going into Moon Knight spoilers, the fact that nobody showed up to, like... I'd imagine somebody, at the very least, would see a kaiju fight in the middle of Cairo and be like, huh, if this is reported on the news, maybe we get a superhero over here, or something. It's like, come on, it makes no sense, especially when you're going with a very optimistic sort of identity in terms of your heroes. Like, I think the boys, it can make sense. Like, the boys try and help out however much they can, and they have localized superheroes, but they don't report on every crime because it's, like, you know, kind of commonplace. And especially because, like, soup terrorists don't exist until... Or, like, soup terrorists don't exist. Or super villains or anything like that. I mean, I guess the heroes themselves are technically super villains because they're all assholes and pretty corrupt. Or at least most of them are, but... It's like, fucking hell. Like, wouldn't it make sense if someone, at least Doctor Strange, somebody were to try and go to Cairo and be like, hey, let me try my best to at least save people, because it's giant gods duking it out, and I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, maybe they can't be seen. I'd imagine they'd probably be seen. But, like, even then, just hearing about all the chaos ensuing in Cairo, I'd assume you'd want somebody to go there. I'm also sick and tired of the trope of the fucking underestimating the villain. Like... It's such a tired thing. It's so tiring. Like, they did it in Multiverse of Madness, and it was made the least sense of fucking all. Like, how do you... Okay, I'm gonna go into more MCU spoilers, assuming people have seen it. If you don't care, just listen. If you do care, zone me out, or mute it, or something. Like, it makes no goddamn sense that they would... like, and everybody's critiqued this on the internet, and I get it, but I figured I may as well point it out too, or whatever. It's like, okay, why would the fucking Illuminati underestimate Wanda? Like, Wanda is probably one of the strongest beings in the entire, like, universe, multiverse, for that matter, and you've decided to underestimate her. And because of that, you're all dead, and you also decided to tell her of your strongest weapon, and thus get the person who wields that power fucking... It's genuinely ridiculous. Like, who thought... How did Sam Raimi think that was... Like, that makes... Or, I don't even know. Was it Sam Raimi that wrote it? Whoever wrote the fucking plot for that movie, or, like, just in general, like, the shit in that movie, it's fucking pathetic. This all started with Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm just ranting about the MCU state as a whole, which is probably to be expected, considering that, like, this is, like, the last straw in terms of MCU shit, I think, for most people, at the very least. Like, I think this is the point where, honestly, like, the sales are going to start dwindling. Because their one chance at something good, like, I expected something good because Taika Waititi was on it. That was the main reason. And I thought the idea of intertwining gods such as Zeus and, like, that product was such a cool idea, because I love mythology. Like, I'm not, like, the mythology guy levels of, like, I don't know a shit ton about mythology, but I think mythology is a very interesting thing. And to see it, like, butchered, like, I hate the fact that, like, we just hate the direction this fucking series of movies is going, and I just really hope that we're gonna get to the point where, like, I know there are always gonna be people who are, like, enjoying something that people don't like, whether they actually believe it, or just for the sake of being different, or something like that, but, like, I feel like this is the point where you're gonna start dwindling in some of your sales. Because, like, that's what's happening with COD. Like, it's gotten to the point where I feel like it was so unbelievably shit that people are gonna, like, they're completely done. Like, how many people are still playing Vanguard? Let me ask that. How many people are still playing Call of Duty Vanguard? I'm sure there's quite a few, but still, like, in comparison, like, I'm sure plenty of people still play Modern Warfare 2019 or any of the older COD games in comparison, and have a much better time playing either of those than they do playing Vanguard. So, like, just the fact that they played it so safe and did nothing different is just taking away from the product as a whole, and it's just disinteresting people. It's taking people's interest away from it. And it's really a shame, too, like, because this year, like, more than, like, ever, we can see the consequences of rushing games and rushing products. Like, I feel like you can definitely see it most key with fucking, like, it's obvious with video games. It's so obvious. Because, like, we had Cyberpunk 2077, which, granted, I'll say, I don't think it was nearly as bad as people were saying. I thought it was definitely not a good, like, it wasn't a great experience because it was incredibly buggy and had plenty of flaws. It was not good. I'll say that. But I think people were like, trashing on it too much. Like, I feel like everybody thought the game was entirely trash, and I think there are good spots about it. Like, I thought the voice acting was good. I thought, like, especially Johnny Silverhand was actually really cool. I really like Johnny Silverhand. Which might be, like, I don't know, just Keanu stan. But, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't watch, like, everything of Keanu, but that might be just what it's summed up to. Because Keanu's the internet. Everybody loved him for a while on the internet. But, like, I think that, like, Johnny Silverhand was actually really cool. I thought the story itself was, like, pretty good. But I think, like, the bugs and all of the other issues kind of overshadowed that. And it just made it, like, and I think also the thing that was the most damaging in this case to Cyberpunk was probably the overhype. Well, there was also plenty of lying I'll say that. Like, I think it was implied you could, like, romance so many different characters, and it turned out to be, like, 4. And that either of those characters were only for a dedicated, like, or, like, a dedicated gender, or something like that. I'm trying to remember. Like, I think it was, like, you can romance... It's like each character had a bound sexuality and gender, which gender's fine, but the bound sexuality thing, I think, like, I don't know. It just made it, like, the fact that you only have 4 romance options on top of that makes it such an issue. Like, the fact that you claim, like, the romance option, I guess, shouldn't be, like, that just sounds kind of, like, perverse that I'm complaining about it, but, like, I guess it just goes to show it's, like, it's an example of the many kind of, like, concepts that they put out there that they didn't follow through on. Like, I remember, there were so many thoughts and ideas, and everybody just really loved the idea and thought it was going to be fantastic, but I think, like, overhype and, like, some of the promises that they didn't follow up on just made it, like, tainted the product as a whole. So, like, when people saw how buggy it was on launch, and granted, like, yeah, it's understandable, buggy. It's, like, I mean, games are gonna always have bugs, I will say that. Like, I think it's stupid to think a game will always be eradicated of bugs. Like, even Elden Ring has bugs. But, like, the fact that it had as many as it did, I think made it an issue. And then, like, people just kind of saw several other things, like, revealed with, like, lies, like, kind of like how, I shouldn't say lies to both, I still like CD Projekt Red as a company. I think they had potential, but I think part of it might have just been, like, overhype and being kind of, like, pushed to push out this product, like, kind of being rushed on it, but I don't know, maybe I'm just defending them for no reason, but I'm trying to be kind of, like, empathetic. I know that's kind of a meme, like the I'm an empath type thing, or me as an empath. But, like, I think it's important to see both sides, or at least try and be understanding. So I'll probably get off. I'm definitely gonna get off after this. I'll say that. But, so, yeah, like, it's, like, I think overall Cyberpunk ended up in the place it was because they refused to delay it and give it time. And, like, while they still kept delaying it, it's like, I would have honestly preferred to wait another couple months, if not, like, maybe a year, or however long it might take, if it ensured that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be a product that was, like, actually good, and that delivered to the standards that were set up for it. And I think no matter what, it wasn't going to entirely fit those standards, but, like, the fact that it turned out, like, I think the overhype in general would have hurt it, but, like, I think that combined with, like, all the bugginess and all the issues behind the game kind of just made it, like, a bad product in general, and kind of tainted it, you know? And maybe I'm just rambling incoherently at this point, but, yeah, and I think, I mean, yeah, so, like, I mean, Cyberpunk's the most prevalent one. I think that's, like, the most egregious, like, most notable one. But, I mean, we saw it this year with Vanguard, like, and we've been seeing it with God Games, too. Like, it's, like, I'd say the reason why Modern Warfare 2019 was as successful as it was because, well, first off, it was a reboot, which I kind of hated the idea at first, because I was like, okay, this is classic, this is Activision trying to kind of milk this IP, like, they're trying to take Modern Warfare and revive it, so that way they can for sure get more money, and I'm sure that was their intention, but I think Infinity Ward tried to actually put their passion and love into it, which is why it actually turned out pretty good. Like, I thought it turned out pretty good as a whole. That's my thoughts on it, at least, but I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong. So, I think that, like, but I think after that point, like, Cold War wasn't super great from what I'd heard, and then everybody knows Vanguard's pretty trash, and then I'd say, like, after Black Ops 2, we were were given several kind of stinkers in a row. Like each game had its own highlights, I'll say that. But overall, like most of the COD games that have come out within the past 10 years have been pretty bad. Like, it's not, and that's not the standard that should be fucking like enforced either. Like, I feel like we need to like encourage companies to actually like work towards passion instead of money. Like, money is still important, but it feels like money is now being prioritized over everything else. And in the end, if you don't put passion into something, well, yeah, first off, it's gonna feel kind of hollow, but also, I think, like, I mean, we're seeing that with COD. Like, I'd assume that's at least what we're seeing with COD. We're like, fucking, at this point, because of the fact that it's kind of just being built, and I think that's actually just hurting it at this point. Like, I think that most people are just not gonna want to touch COD ever again. Really. Like, they don't want to touch COD or anything like that. And they just want to, like, move on. And because of that, like, because you've been playing it safe and prioritizing money over anything else, I don't think people are going to ever want to purchase, like, a COD game again. And because of just the lack of, like, it seems like money is being prioritized over passion, and being able wanting to actually deliver something that's, like, that they want to. Like, I mean, I think it's even gotten to the point where, like, it's infecting. Like, you can see it, I think, in Modern Warfare 2 as well, like, the upcoming Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 game. Like, I might have been interested. Looks like you're almost done, Michael. But, like, I think it's gotten to the point where, like, a lot of people just really aren't interested in the idea of wanting to get the next COD game. So, because of, like, the lack, like, because of how greedy Vanguard was, and how it was just pushed out there, I think, like, you're just pausing, like, your failures are affecting other, like, not just that game, but, like, future projects as well. It's ridiculous. And that's, I don't know, it's just, I'm kind of, yeah, at this point I think my point's kind of getting lost, but I think, like, I'd rather prefer, like, a project that is more passion-filled, and that takes more time to be completed in order for the full vision to be realized, rather than having, like, another COD game come out every year, you know? I'd much prefer that, or I'd much prefer, like, I'd prefer passion over profit. Well, profit's still important, but I think, like, passion can coincide with profit, too. And that's, I think, what I was getting on with the From Software games. Because, like, I mean, they're passionate about making those games the way they want to, and because of that, they've gotten a dedicated kind of player base, and with Elden Ring, because they tried something new, they took a risk, and did something they were passionate about, like, they were passionate about making an actually new game that was interesting and everything. I mean, look at it. It's probably one of, like, it's been insane how successful it's been. And not only that, but it actually, like, I was surprised by the fact that it exceeded my expectations. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was trying to keep them in check because of Cyberpunk having come out recently before that, or around that time. But I'm very happy to say Elden Ring turned out to be a good game. At the very least. And that plenty of people think it's a fucking masterpiece. And I don't know if that's, like, I don't know if I'd agree with that, because I'd probably have to play more in order to give it, like, I want to play more and finish the game in order to give an actual proper thought, like, opinion on it. But, like, from what I played so far, I can see where the talk is coming from. Sure, the game has its issues, like, but the fact that the issue is the repetition of bosses for me, and the fact that you can probably ignore most of that because it's in, like, little side areas and little side activities, which granted is not really excusable, or, like, super excusable. Like, I think they should have probably tried to think of, like, more diversity in terms of like what bosses they threw in those like catacombs and in the ruins and stuff like that. I thought they should have probably done that, but I think overall, like, they've delivered a product which is fucking fantastic, and because of that, like, it's like their success was just granted to follow because they actually put passion into it and they took their time. Like, I mean, what they announced it 3-4 years ago at like E3 2018, 2019, something like that, and then 3 years later, because they took their time and everything, it actually turned out to be a very good product, which a ton of people have enjoyed, and in turn, like, I think it's brought profit along. I think it's their most profitable game ever, honestly. It might be their most profitable game ever. And that's just because, like, they actually put the time and effort into making something good. It's crazy. I know, it's crazy what can happen if you actually put passion into something and try and be, like, interesting and unique and just prioritize. Especially because, like, they're not trying to pander to random audiences either. They're mostly just trying to go for their own audience. But I think, like, the little bits of inclusion that they have, like, how they made it a more open world, and haven't, like, their bosses are less gatekeepy, like, stopping you from continuing the game, I think that helps overall to have pulled many people over and be like, okay, I'm willing to try out another From Software game. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if I'd seen other From Software games spike in sales at some point, or get more sales after Elden Ring 2 because of, like, the success of that game. And I'm sure plenty of people would probably be willing to give it a try, at the very least. So it's like, it's just, I feel like only good things can come from, like, well, sometimes delays can be a bit nasty, I guess. Especially because, like, with Cyberpunk, the amount of times it was delayed only for the product as it was to be pushed out is kind of ridiculous. But if they're putting, like, a shit ton of work into it, like, well, I guess that's what they're doing with, like, I should say, like, the Witcher next-gen versions. Like, it feels like they've been delaying that a lot. Like, I think initially it was supposed to be Q2 2022. We're going into Q3 with, like, July, August, and September. And they still haven't dropped it. They said, I think it was either going to be Q4 2022 now, or something like that. Or, I'm not sure, but, like, they're actually putting time and effort into making sure this isn't actually, like, furbished sort of next-gen update. And that's, I think, very much appreciated, especially because Witcher 3 is, like, one of the more beloved games of all time for plenty of people, including myself. But, like, I'd rather take more time, as I've said before, I'd rather take more time to get a polished product, something that's actually properly good, and that I really enjoy, and can, like, play for a while, and something that doesn't just try and pander to as many audiences as possible, or, like, yeah, I guess pander is probably maybe the best way of putting it. Pander, like, needlessly kind of trying to... Needlessly trying to get the attention of other audiences. Or, like, outside audiences. Like, they don't really do that with those games. And in turn, like, I don't know. It's just naturally success has followed because they put the passion in it, and they're needlessly pandering, because I feel like the needless pandering ends up just hurting them in the long run, because I don't know, I don't think a lot of people like to see that. Because at this point, it just feels like that's kind of what happened with, I think, the diversity tool, Blizzard. It's like, at this point, it's like, well, people are just gonna feel like you're just kind of, like, doing this only for money, rather than actually trying to flesh something out, you know? Like, I think that's a very important thing. It's like, if you're going to include diversity in something, or maybe not diversity, like, I feel like you should have it be plausible, as opposed to something that's just obviously trying to produce to make money. Like, Overwatch is the best example, and I know a lot of people really don't like Overwatch, and Blizzard and stuff like that, but, like, I'd say, like, Overwatch handles its diversity well, because it's, like, it makes sense. It's a team of heroes who are around the entire world, and maps are all over the entire world, so it's gonna make sense that it's like, yeah, I can understand why we have all these different people from all over the world involved in this entire situation. But at the something like, I'm honestly, okay, I'm not sure. Let me think of something. I mean, maybe like Vanguard. Like, I think Actman mentioned that. Actman, subscribe to him if you haven't. Good channel, or like a really good channel, one of my favorites, even though I haven't watched him for super long, but I think his content's really good. But anyway, like, it just feels so out of place, and it just, like, it feels like it's pandering. Because, like, the operators of Vanguard. It just feels so strange. So, it's like, I think overall, like, that hurt part of the image of the game, too. Because, like, I know there's some people who are suckers for historical accuracy, and then sometimes it doesn't matter, and sometimes it doesn't matter, especially if you're going for something different, but, like, I don't know, it's, like, as long as it's, like, not breaking, like, super, like, as long as it's not incredibly stupid, I'd say, like, it's okay. Like, I think female, like, for example, I guess female characters in Battlefield 5 is, like, sure, it isn't realistic, but it's not something I'm incredibly upset about, even if it isn't super historically accurate. But if we get to the point where it's, like, several things are just stupidly, like, out of place, it's like, okay. Like, I think the prosthetics thing is probably a good example from Battlefield 5. I think I remember there's someone with, like, a prosthetic in the trailer. It's like, obviously, it's like, okay, this did not exist at the time. This makes no goddamn sense. Why do you have this here? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. I went off on, like, a little bit of a tangent for a while. While I was just cleaning. I have it at 5:30, so I should finish this, but yeah, so just don't, if there's any pointers to take away from this rant, even if I might barely be able to pick up on some of them, but, like, I feel like I'd prefer passion over profit, like, passion being the main priority, and sure, I mean, obviously, like, you want to make money with something, but I feel like money shouldn't be the priority, especially because, like, if you're, like, I feel like pandering is one of those things where it's, like, profit over passion, you know, and overall that's just gonna hurt. But, anyway, so, yeah, it's, like, so, passion over profit and pandering. And, like, I prefer to wait longer for an actually quality product rather than get something that's trash because people were on a time crunch to push it out. And that's happened with not only video games, but with the MCU. And those, like, Disney products, I guess, recently in general. It all felt the same, not really interesting, or anything cool. And it just makes me think, like, where is the cushion? Where's the cushion dirt? Oh, there we go. Perfect. We're almost done. This took like an hour. Yeah, I mean, I might do this more if I want to rant about something or just chill. I don't know, I just figured I'd upload this, stream it, see how it's taken. Nobody's viewed the stream, but it's whatever. I've just been having fun. Plus I get to rant about stuff, so it's kind of nice. I should also probably say, so I know I still have the Cosmonaut video posted on my channel. I'm probably going to end up taking it down and, like, I don't know. I feel kind of scummy about posting it. Like, I mean, I haven't really changed it or anything. The main reason why I posted it is because I was like, so it comes originally, and I put it in the comment, or like in the description. I was like, so this comes from a YouTuber named Mahler, who And if you know anything about Mahler, he tends in his videos, he has very long videos that, and like that was just a very small section on, and like at this point I've cooled off. It's like if you care, if you watch Marcus or Cosmonaut or whatever you want to call him, it's like whatever, you feel free. It's like not my place to say. I'm just saying, like, I guess be careful, or like be careful with what you're listening to. I think like the key thing I can take out of like all the review content I've watched recently, like over the past like 3 years, 4 years, is that I'd recommend you just judge. You do like watch or play something yourself before anything else. Because if you don't, then I feel like you're openly, well, you're going to go into it with the expectation that it's either good or bad, and then you might get disappointed because you might get the opposite, and plus it's the best way to form your own opinion of something. Like Dead Meat gives that warning, I think, as well, at the end of their videos, and I think it's great. Like, yeah, I definitely fucking agree with that. It's like people should watch and play stuff for themselves in order to form their own opinion before they watch a review. And plus, I think that especially helps with, like, if you want to have, like, a constructive argument with someone, like, that isn't just, like, simply, no, you're just simply wrong, you're an idiot, something like that, involving ad hominem, or whatever you want to say. It's like, I think if you want to have a constructive argument where you can actually make proper points, then if you play something or watch something yourself, and especially kind of like critically look at it, it's like, okay, now I can understand where you're coming from. Or like, yeah, I can just understand where you're coming from, you know? And that way, like, you can give people an idea of what you're thinking, and that, like, of what, like, your mindset and everything. And hopefully people can be empathetic and understand where you're coming from, and you can also, like, give proper examples, you know, instead of just, like, copy-pasting other people's arguments. Because I think at that point, especially if you're questioned on it, it's just gonna make you seem stupid. Because then it's like, okay, well, how do I back up something that isn't even my own thought? Or, like, my own... Like, you can take inspiration from other things, of course. Like, you can take inspiration from other products, or other things. I just think that... You can take inspiration from what other people say. I just think that, like, it's important to form your own ideas, and to, like, be able to, like, when watching, then you can see the examples for yourself and make connections, like your own connections. That way you can properly make an argument, as opposed to just backing up to the sort of ad hominem type of thing where you're, like, name-calling. When you name-call, I feel like at that point you're just kind of, like, it's kind of stooping to a lower level, and, like, sure, if you have proper arguments to back it up, I guess I can understand it, especially or, like, I just think it's better to, like, have a proper debate rather than go straight to calling someone a moron, you know? And I should probably be better about that. Like, if somebody's talking to me, I want to be like, okay, let me hear your reasoning. Instead of simply just, like, being like, nope, you're simply wrong, you dumbass. And I don't think I've ever really said anything like that exactly. I might have before, but I don't recall saying something like that, at least. Okay, I don't know how to get this retaining wall cap finished, but... Yes, So I guess like what I was saying is that I mean you can like custom it if you want. I just think that especially when making point or like the point of that video is especially when making points. Like sure people can be contradictory. I just think you got to be careful with how you apply it, especially because I think like so I'll say the Star Wars Rebels example is probably the best he makes. Like I think that's 100% like a stupid thing that they included. It's so goddamn goofy and it doesn't make any sense as to why they included it. But I think something like the application of like Sabine versus Rey is kind of dumb. Like, sure, I think Sabine should have been handled better, I guess. That's probably one thing I can say. Like, I think Sabine does come off as a bit like, okay, yeah, she's a bit strong for, like, a 16-year-old, but... And I think her age is the main thing. But I also think, like, I guess the Mandalorian background and Imperial training can also explain it. Like, it's clarified she has experience fighting and stuff like that, and it has quite a lot, especially considering her background. However, I think with Rey, it's more inexcusable, because with Rey, her, like, the most of her training like, any sort of training she's gotten has come from... Okay, let's check the tablet, sorry. So her training comes from hanging planters. Okay, let me see if I can find this. I think it's over here, and then I gotta finish the roof. So any training Rey has gotten has come from just her experience on Jakku, since it's clarified that she's only stayed on Jakku, right? So the fact that she knows how to fight with the lightsaber and not only does so, but proceeds to beat a man who's been trained by like the most dominant Sith in the past 30 years, considering Palpatine was gone. And you know, I'm just gonna say that fucking Rise of Skywalker is canon in my head, but like. So say Palpatine doesn't exist, we'll go with like as of the time of Force Awakens releasing. We just know that Snoke exists. So Snoke, it's like he trained Kylo Ren, and I'd assume he's a good, like he did a good job as well. I doubt he, especially because it was I don't know how many years exactly. I can't remember how many years they were together, but I'd assume that they were together for quite a while, and not only the fact that he had prior experience as, like, a Jedi Padawan, Luke, well, actually, we didn't know that at the time. Fuck, see, this is the issue, sometimes it's hard to apply stuff. So, okay, we'll take into the idea that Snoke is his own person. So, well, even then, I guess, so, say, Palpatine's using Snoke as his puppet, and he trains Kylo Ren, okay? So he's trained Kylo Ren to be a proficient Sith-esque type character, because I guess he's technically not a Sith. I don't even fucking know. He's a Sith. But he's basically a Sith. But, so he has been... Let's see, what do I need to clean? Control panel? It's over here. There we go. Control panel. Let's see, what else do I need to fucking clean? 93. I need to step edgings. Where's step edgings? Over here. He was like, the point is that Kylo Ren was trained by Luke, who's a pretty proficient Jedi. In fact, a very proficient Jedi. And he was also trained by Palpatine, who's a pretty proficient Sith Lord too. Which, if you want to take from Revenge of the Sith, he was also very good with lightsabers before he lost his own, or stopped using his own. So, it's like, there's not much of an excuse as to why Ray, who has little to no experience with a lightsaber, would suddenly be able to beat Kylo Ren in a fight. So, and that's just force weakness, so I didn't even forgot this part. Oh my god, that's terrible. Stepping stone, so one of these over here. That one. There we go. Step edging. There we go. And then I got 3 fence posts I gotta take care of. There we go. Let's see where else. Let's see. There we go, there's that one done. Fence post. Post. It's one fence post, but I don't know which one it is. So here comes the process of trying to figure out which post it is. So there's a post there, post there. Let's see, so. This one? Okay. Let's see. There we go. Hey Doc, Cal here. I've got a job for you over at my folks' bungalow, or you can fit it in. Okay. Let's check out the speed process thing. It's kind of satisfying to watch. Sorry. There we go. So I can clean the bungalow, clean the playground, or clean the dirt bike. So, I'll go to the menu now. So, can I log out of the game? Alright, no. I don't know. I think I'll just end up having to stay on this menu. Okay, so. Thanks for watching, if anybody is, but, and for listening to my incoherent rants for almost 2 hours. But, yeah, so, I guess, so anyway, my point was that, so I think, I mean, that's comprehensible, right? What I was trying to say. You guys see what I'm trying to say when I'm saying, like, I feel like not straight up saying you're a moron and trying to actually, like, having seen stuff can actually, like, in forming your own opinion and sort of type of that thing, that can help to, like, create a coherent argument. I know it's kind of random to bring it up in, like, a power washing simulator video, but I wanted to bring up that because I'd thought about it for a while, and so it's like, have your opinion on Marcus all you want. I mean, he's allowed to state his own opinion. I think the main issue for me is that he tries to present it as fact when he gets some things pretty clearly wrong, and he's a little bit contradictory in what he says. But, I mean, no ill will towards him. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He seems like he'd be a chill guy in person anyway, especially because, like, if I could talk to him, or, like, if I got the chance to talk to him and be like, hey, can you explain this? And especially, because I'm sure he's probably grown over time. I haven't watched his stuff that much, but I'm sure he's probably grown. No ill will towards him. He seems like he'd probably be a chill guy. And I'll probably take down or, like, unlist that Cosmonaut video, just because, like, it's not my own stuff. I'd recommend you go watch Mauler if you want to see more. Like, he makes, I'd say, like, it's a little bit sketchy, some of the points he makes. It's better if you, like, look at stuff like the EFAPs, the Every Frame of Pause, it's his podcast, where he, like, looks at content. It's better you just look at that stuff to, like, get an idea of what he's like, because I think, like, a small snippet is kind of hard to get an idea of what he's like. I just posted it because it was like part of a 3.5 hour long video. And I was like, I figure if people don't want to go sifting through 3.5 hours to get an idea of like his thoughts on Cosmonaut or something like that, or however many streams he's made. I think he's made like 3, he's done like 3 streams on 3 of his videos. But yeah, so just like, it's just, I figured it'd be easier. I might take it down. I don't know. We'll see. Especially, like, if he contacts me himself and asks me to take it down, I probably will. For now, I'll probably keep it up just because I think it's good to keep people informed, especially in a, like when Mauler produces content as long as he does. But, yeah, just go check out Mauler's content, and if you want to keep watching Cosmonaut, Marcus, whoever you want to call him, I mean, feel free. I'm not one to judge what you watch or what you do. As long as it's not, like, something terrible, of course, like doxing someone or murder, but, yeah, so, anyway, thanks for listening to me rant, and I hope you enjoyed the power washing, even if, like, the satisfying power washing noises themselves were somewhat caught out by my incessant rambling, but I hope you enjoyed this little first episode. I might continue this going, especially if I feel like I have something to talk about. But for now, I'm gonna go get off so that way I can prepare for work. Yeah. So, have a good day, everybody, and I will see you all later.